So if you clicked on this video, this is a reminder to never get tired of telling your story, right? Never get tired of telling your story, because it is through the power of repetition that will allow people to understand your story, your branding story, how you got from A to B. That transformation story is one of the most important, compelling stories known to human history, right? The whole idea of coming from one place where it wasn't necessarily looking good, let's say, it wasn't necessarily looking like you were going to make it or you were going to break through, right? But then through that transformational story and how you got from A to B, that is what you need to utilize and hone into your skill of effective brand storytelling. And you need to ensure that you tell that story. And I'm going to give a few reasons as to why it is important for you to tell that story, right? And I'm saying this from my perspective as a brand authority strategist. I've been in the PR industry for almost a decade now. I've seen the ups and downs, and I've seen what it means to really be at the brink of despair. Let's call it that. Let's call a spade a spade. But then through my efforts of just continuous learning and unlearning and developing and growing and shifting my mindset, understanding my story, and also understanding my expertise, that is what I do when I speak with clients, when I speak with colleagues, friends, peers, whatever the case, to really reinforce the importance of your brand story and how that story will allow you to open doors that you didn't even think was possible, right? So with that, I want to start off with your brand story is your superpower. And the reason why I say that is because I guarantee that no one has the exact same story as you. They may have been involved in areas similar to your story, but the impact and the effect of your story is that no one has your direct, unique story, only yourself. So through that, you are the one who is responsible for being able to document that story, how to showcase that story, how to amplify that story to the people that need to hear it. Because you may think, regarding your role or your sort of job as a founder, or you're scaling a business, that that is all you're doing. However, I need to reaffirm that it is a lot more powerful than that. And even on my TikTok the other day, I spoke about the importance that you're the person you need to become in the journey or the process of building a business is the hardest part of building a business. As far as business goes, the idea of business, it follows the same philosophy, the methodology, the process, the frameworks, in order for you to drive those sales and to drive that revenue and to drive that awareness into your business. The power of what it means to become that person is where it gets hard. That's where it gets a bit more tricky, because you have to understand that you have to develop the mindset to show that you can. You need to develop that level of resilience when things go wrong or things get hard, for you to keep on going, to hit those targets, to hit those goals. When things are not looking like it can be done, that's when you need to show perseverance and rise above the ranks to showcase that you are the person that you are destined to become in the process of building your business and the process of scaling it to new heights. As a founder, you know what you are doing, but you are not identifying the journey of what it has allowed you to become, that has made you that person that can run a business, and not only run a business, but that can run a business and scale. So on that side of things, it is in your best interest to identify the person that you once were to the person you have become as a result of you doing the thing, doing the thing that scared you, doing the thing that you didn't even think was possible, doing the thing that you felt that you couldn't do, Maybe you didn't think you had enough talent, or maybe people told you couldn't do it. But despite the fact you still managed to get it done. And that is when I talk about, that is the branding story within your personal brand that you document and you showcase to your audience in a way that makes them resonate with you. They gravitate towards you because they can see that you've been through the trenches, you've been through the process, right? You've been through the area of going from A to B. And when you have an understanding of how you're able to carve out your story in a signature way that allows people to not only gravitate towards you, but they empathize, they understand you, they want you to win, they are rooting for you off the back of you being able to showcase your story, right? And another part of that is, I'm going to say, you need to ensure that you repeat it. Repetition is something that people have a love-hate relationship with. And I used to have a love-hate relationship with repetition as well, because it seems that you are saying the same thing to the same set of people. However, I assure you, especially with the algorithm in social media, for example, we need to bear in mind that when you are sharing and posting content online, some people may never see it. Some people may never even see that particular piece of content you put out. I will share an example. From August 2024, I have been publishing one weekly blog every single Wednesday, right? And a few months ago, I ran a poll on my LinkedIn just to test something, just to figure out something. So long story short, I done the poll, and there was a significant number of people that had no idea that I wrote a weekly blog, despite the fact that I posted every single Wednesday on LinkedIn of the blog content that I'm putting out. Of course, there were people that said that they knew already, they've seen it, they've read some of the content, they've learned from the content. But the point that when I saw that there was actually quite a good number of people that had no idea, despite the fact that I was posting, goes to show that you need to show a level of repetition in order for people to see it. You can never, ever, 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 ever assume that people have seen your content just because you posted it once. You need to post it more than once, and you need to post it in various different ways. And that's why when I talk about the work that I do with the P.H.A.S.E.S brand authority system, it's a system that's embedded that allows you to amplify your work from your primary core platforms, which I work with, which is LinkedIn, YouTube, and Substack, and then repurposing all that content into ways that will attract people who you want to sell to through the areas of amplification to your secondary platforms. Those are the things that I work with alongside the PR. So you can get yourself out there, you can get yourself in various different publications, broadcasters, podcasts, and it's reintegrated back into the content. The marketing, it gives you the strategies and the skills that allow you to then turn all of this attention into something feasible, whether it comes down to producing a new offer, even when it comes down to selling a new service or pushing out a particular new program, or whatever it may be. It allows you to then do it off of the bat that you have built that level of visibility and credibility. That is the work that I do. And it's through that constant level of repetition that allows people to get to the stage where they understand you. They know who you are. They know your expertise. They know what you stand for. They know what you don't stand for. And from that, they then decide ultimately whether they want to be within your ecosystem where they can learn from you and they are able to gain experience and knowledge from you. And in some cases, through that process, you have a percentage of people who actively want to buy from you because they want to start doing the things that you're doing, and they want to embed your way of thinking into the way that they are moving forward with their business, right? And it comes down to the element where you need to be able to repeat your story. I always showcase and repeat my story of how I went from being so scared of producing content and being out there and putting myself out there until I went skydiving. I jumped 10,000 feet out of the air and it felt like the fear eradicated. And from that day, I jumped out of the sky and I started thinking, okay, this is a process where I need to really face my fears one by one and knock them down like dominoes and get to the point where I am super fearless with my approach and I am super intentional with how I am producing said content and also what I'm doing to build my agency and to build my community as well. That is the story for me that I repeat all the time because it showcases a story of where I was and where I'm at now and where I will be. It showcases that story of the past, the present, and the future. And when you are in a position where you repeat that in various different content formats and various different ways, you will be surprised how many people start to gravitate towards you naturally, right? Honestly, it is so important to be able to understand that not everyone is going to see your story. It's your job to make sure that you repeat it enough because in all honesty, no one can ever get sick of hearing your story because you're saying it in different ways. You're saying it from different perspectives. You are repurposing that content in a way that aligns with your direct ICP, your ideal client persona, the people that you want to sell to, and also your ideal follower persona, the people who have gravitated towards you in the process as well, right? And with that, I want you to then understand that the idea of developing a story, a story is something that people remember a lot more than data, right? The data side of things, it reinforces things, it makes things more credible in the way that you're saying it and the way you're able to back it up with actual evidence. But the idea of a story is what really triggers the brain. It provides that dopamine hit. It provides that level of empathy, as mentioned. It provides that level of people being able to resonate with you as not only a business owner, not only as a founder, but as a human. On a human to human level, they then understand where you're at and why you actually have that level of drive to push forward. So, honestly speaking, you need to be able to showcase your story as much as possible, right? That's it for me today. I want to end it like that. However, if you are interested in learning about how you are able to craft your journey into a compelling story that you can repeat over and over again to the people that need to hear it, which will then lead to opportunity for yourself, right? Which will then lead to people being interested in your services and your offering because they feel that they now have a better understanding of who you are and where you've been and where you're going, right? If you want to know how to do that, click in the description box down below and apply for a P.H.A.S.E.S brand authority clarity call. You can have a chat with me and then we can see what we can do to help you. But on that note, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and never, ever, ever feel like you're saying your story or you're repeating your story too much because there's far too many people in the world, and that means that there's more opportunity for you to share your story. On that note, I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out. Look after yourself.